Hello. This is my vlog thing. This is gonna be my, I'm gonna make a video about my top 10 comedies, but before I get into my top 10 comedies, I just wanted to give a little thing about the future of my blog. This YouTube channel is in, like, correspondence with my Tumblr, so I'm gonna just talk about some observations I have in my life, just things I notice about life and things like that. And I'll either make a video blog like this, or I'll write something down on my Tumblr, and I'll put a link for my Tumblr in the description. And then also I will do reviews of TV shows and movies and books and things that I'm into right now because it's a part of my life. And then I might also add in some of these top 10 lists. I'm just starting off that right now, because it seems like the easiest thing to do. I was gonna do a review for the latest Glee episode, but I know there's been a lot of spoilers for the next Glee episode, so I feel like my mind has left what was the last Glee episode. So right now, this is just gonna be my top 10 comedies. Okay, so on to that. Okay, so my number 10 comedy is This Is Spinal Tap. It's a mockumentary about the band Spinal Tap. It's not actually them, although there was an actual band, Spinal Tap. It's just actors from Saturday Night Live, and it has a filmmaker who follows them around while they're on, like, their last American tour or whatever. And it's really funny because the situations that come up are ridiculous. The band's kind of ridiculous. There's just a lot of really kind of funny gags in it, and if you're into music, you'll really, really like it. There's a scene where they're all on stage giving this performance, but all the guitarists are playing a bass guitar. It's really funny. There's a scene where he talks about he has this amp that goes to 11, and just a lot of really classic funny jokes. Like, I guess the actual band Spinal Tap had this huge Stonehenge that would drop down while they were performing, and it was like 15 feet high, and then they'd have, like, little people in leprechaun outfits, like, come and dance around it. So they kind of made fun of that. In this movie, there was like a discrepancy, like they wrote inches instead of feet, so it was just this, like, short little Stonehenge with little people running around it and knocking it over. It's pretty funny. It's a very funny movie. I highly recommend it to everyone. This is Spinal Tap. Okay, and my number 9 movie is Airplane, and I can't find it. I'm in the middle of moving, so some of my movies have not been found yet, but they will when I'm done unpacking. Look, you can see there's my mirror that's still wrapped in bubble wrap. Number 9 is Airplane. It's a classic movie. Makes fun of, like, a lot of airplane disaster movies that were coming out in, like, the 70s. It's an older movie, and it has just so many classic jokes come from that movie. Like, if you've ever heard the joke "Don't Call Me Shirley," it comes from that movie. Just really funny movie about being, you know, up in an airplane. And it has the air traffic control people trying to land this airplane that everyone got sick on, because there's 2 meals. There's the chicken and the fish, and I think the fish could have been the chicken. I don't know. If you had one of the dishes, everyone got really, really sick, and both of the pilots got really sick. So there's, like, no one to land the plane. So it's sort of stems from that, but it's just the situations that come up are just really funny, and just things they add in. Like, at one point they're like, they're on instruments, they'll be fine, and it goes to the cockpit, and everyone in the cockpit is, like, playing a musical instrument. It's really just kind of ridiculous, kind of really just hilarious older movie that not a lot of people know about, but everyone should see. Sorry, I have my notes for this video written down in my Happy Asian Food book. Okay, number 8 is Down with Love, and it's a romantic comedy starring Ewan McGregor and Renee Zellweger. I said it's a romantic comedy, so there is that element, but it's set in the 60s, and it's very reminiscent of, like, Pillow Book with like a Doris Day, Rock Hudson movie, except kind of a lot funnier. It's the humor in this movie comes from innuendo. This whole movie just has, like, so many innuendos. There's this a phone call between Ewan McGregor and Renee Zellweger that has, like, a split screen, and just really funny innuendos that happen during that phone call. But the plot, it's about Renee Zellweger. She comes to New York. She writes a book called Down with Love that, like, teaches women to be romantically independent, sort of just be like swingers like guys were in those days, and just teaches them that they don't need guys, they can use them like men used women. And so this causes a problem with Ewan McGregor's love life, because he was like the worst one. His name's Catcher Block in the movie. And so he goes and he pretends to be this guy that likes Renee Zellweger so he can like expose her, and it's just situations that stem from that. It has a really big twist at the end, and it's just very, very, very funny. It's probably my favorite romantic comedy ever. The whole thing is, it's very 60s, and it has this sort of feel to it where it feels like it could be a musical, but it's not. They sing, there's one musical number at the end during the credits, but it's not a musical, but it feels like at any moment everyone can break out into song and dance, and it does have a great cast. David Hyde Pierce is in it, he's hilarious. So, number 8, Done with Love, very funny movie. Okay, number 7 is The Hangover. It's one of 2 more modern movies that I have in my list. Like I said, I love the classics. So most of my movies are older, but this is one of the modern ones. So, The Hangover. Pretty modern movie. Most people know it's about, these 3 guys, or 4 guys, they get really, really drunk. Actually, kind of turns out that they were on a date rape. They got like a date rape drug in them, and so they just don't remember what happened the night before, and they're missing their friend who's he's getting married like the next day. So they have to sort of find out what happened the night before and find him, and it's just really, really, really funny. I don't know who the writers for this were, but they're just so smart, and just the things that are included in this movie are so ridiculous and funny. And this is also probably the raunchiest comedy I have on my list, because I'm not a big fan of raunchy humor. Like, they just, I just don't enjoy them. Raunchy humor is not for me, but this is more situational humor to me, but there's some raunchy parts in it, but it's really, really good. Definitely one of my favorites. Okay, and then number 6 is another classic, Father of the Bride with Steve Martin. There's an older version, this is a remake, but get the one with Steve Martin, because he's a comedic genius in my opinion. He's one of my favorite comedians ever. It's a movie about his daughter who kind of unexpectedly announces that she's getting married, and it's just him dealing with it and the fallout from that, and it's just the things that come up in here. Again, situational comedy is really, really funny. Martin Short is in it, and it's probably his funniest role. He's like Frank, and he's the wedding planner, and he plans this big elaborate wedding, and it's just him learning to let go of his daughter and things like that. But it's very, very funny, but it has a really good heart to it and a really good storyline. It's very, very enjoyable comedy, and also you should just see this to see the sequel just later on in the list, because the sequel is one of the funniest movies ever. It's one of the few that are better, but I mean, the original Father of the Bride, this one is just also very, very, very good. Okay, and number 5 is the other modern comedy, Easy A. This is probably the funniest movie about virginity ever made. I just dropped the movie. Whoops. It's about this girl, Emma Stone, and played by Emma Stone, and I forgot her name. Olive. Sorry. Olive, played by Emma Stone, who pretends to lose her virginity to help out her friend who's being, tortured because people think he's gay, and he is, but she kind of just helps him out so he won't be teased so much. And just what happens as a result of this one lie and how it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger is just really, really very, very funny, and has a very, I think, good message about sort of what people consider their business and judgments people make about other people, and just so funny. It has one of the best casts in a movie I've ever seen. Stanley Tucci's in it, and he's just like my favorite person ever. Amanda Bynes, and Emma Stone's one of my favorite actresses now. Every movie she's in, I just seem to really, really like. But Easy A, my number 5. It's very, very, very good. Highly recommended. Okay, number 4, such a classic, Robin Hood Men in Tights. It's Mel Brooks' classic. It makes fun of a lot of Robin Hood movies that have been made, and it's also Carrie Yule's or Ella's. It's a very, very funny movie. It has Dave Chappelle in it as well as Carrie Yule's, and it's just, I'm going to put this down so it stops blocking my face. Just a lot of really funny parody type humor, and then it's got a really funny musical number, the Men in Tights, that kind of thing. Very, 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 I keep saying that it's really funny because these are all comedies, of course they're funny, but just the parody of it, and it's such a classic. I mean, if you haven't seen it, you need to see it just to have it and just to say you've seen it, because it's such a classic, and you won't be disappointed. It's very good at making fun of sort of the standard like Robin Hood movie that you've seen, and it's really, really like it. Okay, number 3, this is The Princess Bride. It's another Mel Brooks classic starring Carrie Yules, Yules, whatever, however you say it. It's sort of makes fun of fairy tales, and this again, Princess Bride has one of the best casts I've ever seen. There's Andre the Giant, who plays the Central Giant, and then Mandy Patinkin, who plays Domingo Montoya. This has a very, very famous quote in it, if you've ever heard, "My name is Domingo Montoya, you killed my father, prepare to die." It's from this movie. It's a classic. Again, it's a movie I think probably the next ever movie I mentioned is a movie that I think everyone should see because it's such a classic. But this is really, really a well-known classic. It's very funny. There's some very, very funny jokes in it. The whole thing is sort of told as a story from a storybook, and Fred Savage plays this little kid who's hearing the story, and it's just, it's one of my favorite all-time movies, Princess Bride. It's very, very good. Okay, and the second one is Father of the Bride 2. I mentioned it earlier in the video, but this is probably one of the most quoted movies in my house. It's about his daughter who got married, right? And she announces that she's pregnant, and then come to find out Steve Martin's wife is also pregnant, and it just causes so many things to come up that you wouldn't expect. Like, Steve Martin goes through this this midlife crisis that's really funny, and he sells his house to this really funny Middle Eastern guy. I can't remember his name, but it's just very, very funny. Martin Short returns. He does the baby showers and helps them build onto the house, so he's in it for the majority of the movie, and it's just so funny. So many great quotes that you'll be able to sort of quote to people, other people who've seen it and they get it. It's just, it's one of my all-time favorite movies, and again, like Father of the Bride 1, it does have a lot of heart to it, and where he sort of learns to accept, you know, that he's going to be a father again, and that he's going to be an older father now, and that he's also going to be a grandfather, and also his daughter moves away. So it's just really, really great movie. Okay, and the number 1 movie, which I can't find, and it's driving me crazy, is Arthur. Not the one with Russell Brand. That one's crap. The one with Dudley Moore and Liza Minnelli. That one is so hilarious. It's just basically about a guy who is really, really rich, and so he just drinks all the time. He has a really bad drinking problem, but it causes the funniest crap to come out of his mouth. It's one of the funniest movies ever made. Ever. And, he is kind of being forced to marry this woman so he won't lose his fortune, but while he's sort of going through the plans for this wedding, he meets Liza Minnelli and falls in love with her. Sort of learns, you know, that there's more to life than money. And it's such a funny movie. It's probably the biggest classic. It's one of my favorite movies I've ever seen. It might be my top favorite movie ever. And it's a really big classic in my house. I think the first time I saw it I was like 10. It's like the general consensus of my family would be that this is our favorite movie. And it's really, really great. I'll try and put a picture of what the case looks like so you can find it if you want. But it's a really, really amazing movie. I really highly suggest. Okay, so that's my top 10 favorite comedies. Tell me what you think, and maybe if you want to tell me your top 10 favorite comedies or your favorite movies or whatever, and I will try to have another video soon. My next one might be a review of the next Glee episode. So we'll see. Right, thanks for watching.